Polling this week revealed that the Reform Party is surging in the Red Wall. The party, led by our very own Richard Tice, reached 14% popularity in the 40 Red Wall seats that switched from Labour to Conservative in the 2019 general election. Now, many on the political right might be thinking this is absolutely brilliant news. But actually, it's not. Because if you investigate it a little bit more, if these polls were replicated at a general election, the Conservatives would lose all 40 Red Wall seats and they would be gifted back to Labour.
Good.
The simple fact of the matter is a vote for reform is a vote for Labour. The reality is, if you don't want Keir Starmer as Prime Minister, do not vote for reform. Look, I know the party is appealing. Their policies are interesting. They want a net zero migration. They want no NHS waiting list. They want to lower taxes. They want cheaper energy. But under the first past the post political system, they're never going to be empowered to deliver those policies. And people that think otherwise have quite simply got their heads in the clouds. It's time to get real. If you don't want Keir Starmer at number 10, you must vote Conservative. Now look, I know the past couple of years of Tory government have not been perfect. They have been far from perfect. But Rishi Sunak is delivering. Inflation halved, taxes cut, small boat crossings down by a third. The Northern Ireland executive restored. The Conservatives have a plan and it's working. So don't jeopardise that by voting for reform at the next general election, because if you do that, you might as well be voting for Labour.
Albie, I want some of your smoking, please.
And that was a party political broadcast by Conservatives.
So what is it you disagree with there, Dan?
All of it.
I mean, I do find it pretty funny that you can say the Conservatives have underperformed in the last few years. I mean, that's putting it politely.
I said it's not been perfect.
Well, it certainly hasn't been perfect. Understatement of the century. But what I would say is I'm so tired of being told that I can't vote, and I'm not saying how I am going to vote, by the way. I think that would be inappropriate. But that I can't vote for a certain party because of the fact that the other party might get in.
But it's
true.
Well,
that should mean that the other party actually does its damn job and tries to win my vote, shouldn't it?
So you'd be quite happy for the 40 Red Wall seats to go to Labour if the numbers of people, 14% of Red Wallers, vote reform. You'd be happy with that outcome?
Would I be sat there happier than a pig in muck? No. But do I think that the Conservatives have brought it on themselves? Absolutely.
Albie, I think you're slightly missing the intention of reform. They've not said it publicly in so many words, but I don't even think they're that bothered about the number of seats they get.
They're not going to get any seats.
OK, that's fine. They want to destroy the Conservative Party, who, may I say, think they have the divine right to rule in this country. I was going to use colourful language then. They take advantage of, or have taken advantage of their voters for the past 13, 14 years because they just think that year after year they'll vote for them regardless just because they're Conservative. The truth is, there's no Conservatives left in the Conservative Party. I may argue with you, Albie, sir, you are half of the problem with the Conservative Party.
Oh,
you're not
please,
a Conservative.
Here we go.
You're a Liberal Democrat in disguise.
You're not a real Conservative. I've never heard that before.
That's why the Tories are in such a mess.
I've had enough of this.
Because of people like you, that's why the Tories are in such a mess.
I've heard it too much. Belinda, I've got to be honest. What is the point of the Reform Party? You're just going to deliver a Labour government.
You know, I was a member of the Conservative Party for 20 years until it turned into a sneering, snobby, EU submitting, open borders, high tax, forced to deliver Brexit, allowing the public sector to be taken over by wokeism. I am not rewarding failure. And in fact, anyone that does keep rewarding failure cannot complain if the next Conservative government comes in. They absolutely con the British people with crumbs of slightly Conservative policies to go back on 99% of them once on power. They do not own your vote.
The arrogance.
I believe in democratic choice, and what the Tories want to do, not persuade people with their own arguments. They want to threaten and scare people. Oh, vote for us or Labour will get in. The Tories are a version of Labour. There's very little difference between the two of them.
All the things that you just mentioned that you disliked get worse under Labour.
As with any disease, and I believe Westminster is sick. I believe the main parties are sick.
But
and
reform isn't the cure.
Sometimes tastes a bit nasty. Medicine can be unpleasant, but you will be cured at the end of it. We need to reset politics and put British people and British interests first, which none of the main parties do, and Reform UK does.
Right, let's dig into some of Reform's policies, shall we, Belinda? I was having a look at some of their policies earlier on, particularly their taxation policy. They look unfunded to me, are they?
I love this unfunded. Do you know how many billions are wasted by the Conservative Party mismanaging our taxpayers' money? Billions are wasted. I'm not even going to go over what the mistakes they did in COVID, the money wasted in the NHS. We can save so much money by getting more bang for our buck with the taxpayers' money and use it to absolutely support the British people. And I think it's right we raise the threshold to £20,000 because taxing people so they don't work will just keep people at home on benefits. That's not right by them and it's not right by the country.
That's all well and good, but I didn't hear a plan there. Benjamin Butterworth, are you happy that Reform is surging because it means that your man Keir Starmer is going to be in number 10?
I mean, look, you know, there was a Red Wall poll today that put Labour 20 points ahead of the Conservatives. So there's been a massive shift to Labour in its own right. Look, I think, you know, Belinda and her policies are hilarious. You know, I call them reheated UK because it's just a load of people like Anne Widdecombe and Fruitcake Farage just trying to get another bit of attention.
Your party doesn't even know what a woman is, Ben. It's the biggest joke in the country, Labour.
And you're going to help them.
Why? So make your argument. Albie, the Tories need to make their argument.
I have made the argument.
They just...
Taxes cut, immigration rules tightened up.
Taxes cut after the highest tax burden in decades.
Albie, Northern Ireland executive restored.
Let me address your points. Taxes cut after the highest tax burden in 70 years.
There's no tax cut at all.
So you take 100 pieces of gold and give someone back half a bar and say, there you go, plebs, here's your tax cut.
So how do you think, how do we pay back for the COVID? How do we pay back the COVID?
Inflation halved. Inflation's halved around the world. Nothing to do with the Conservative government.
Can I just say that the way in which, the part where I do actually agree with Belinda rather than Albie, is that I really hate electoral pacts. And actually the Brexit Party did it with the Tories at the last election, and I think that was a mistake in the interests of democracy. Voters have a right to have the full selection of choice, and it's not good enough to say that Reform is just letting Labour in. The fact is people can vote for any of those parties and they should be allowed to in all 650 seats.
Yeah, Conservatives are letting Labour in. They've given them the keys. They're defeatist and they've given up on the British people.
Reform is literally, according to the statistics, letting Labour
Once the Conservatives are finished, all the MPs can run back and rejoin the Lib Dems where they belong.
And dare I say, I think maybe we're all making the case for a bit of electoral reform in this country. People do have a genuine choice at the ballot box.
Yeah, and if we cut taxes and cut the blob and stop spending money on stupid diversity, inclusion, rubbish, it will grow. We have a plan for growth.
We have a plan
for growth, and you don't. The Tories don't.
But I'm going to have to cut something here.